Cool, nice one. Mr. Stuart Mackenzie from Fit Pro Sales. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm all good, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good to catch up briefly off air, as it were. But yeah, so sales, what can you tell the guys in the group about sales? Where do you want to start with it? What's the sort of, first of all, tell me a bit about you, your background, where you've got to today, and then we'll jump into some bits on sales.
Yeah, sure. So I was a personal trainer, gym owner, online coach, all of those as a combination for around about 8 or 9 years, and loved it to a certain point, but I really struggled with certain aspects of it. I think being a gym owner at some point kind of just completely destroyed me. Long hours, marketing, like the marketing and the sales side of things was where I excelled and felt really, really good, with. But it was the coaching that I really struggled with, like the emotional attachment to like clients and all these various different. Anyway, it was a huge emotional drain and stress. Went fully online, did really, really well with that again, marketing and sales, loved it. But it was the coaching, and it was a recurring theme. Every time I was doing something involved in the fitness industry, there was one element of it that I really loved, and it was the looking after and coaching the clients that I kind of not struggled with. I just didn't have the fire for it.
Yeah.
So to cut a very, very long story short, about 2019, I found myself back in the commercial gym that I'd started in when I was 19. So 10 years later, near enough, almost 8-9 years later, I was wiping down machines, doing inductions, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to throw my head through a window if I don't change something. And I saw someone in one of the groups, one of the coaches I know, ask if someone could do some sales calls. And I was just like, you know what, sod it. I'll do it. Pay me whatever. I just need to get off this gym floor. And the agency, the first thing I've become known for, kind of spiraled from there, something that we spoke about like probably near enough around the time that it kind of all blew off, really. Yeah. People would outsource their sales calls to myself or my team. That went absolutely crazy. To this point now, in 2 years, we've closed over 3 million for clients. But in the process of that as well, because the agency wasn't a very good fit for a lot of personal trainers, they weren't built, their business wasn't really built for it. People started asking me to kind of teach them and coach them on it anyway. So I created my Sprint, which is a terrible name for it, because back then it was a 30-day thing. It was not meant to be a big thing. It was just a 30-day program. I'll coach you on a few bits, yada, yada, yada. People got ridiculously good results from it. And it's kind of expanded and grown from there into not a sprint. It's like a full-on course. And then it's evolved into private mentoring as well. So I mentor around 30 coaches with that, on that side of things. And it's one of those things, whilst sales is like my thing, and we'll go into the reasons why I believe sales to be so ridiculously important in a slightly different way to most people sort of position it. I love all aspects of the business. Like I take a real sort of pride, and I get very passionate about sort of being able to help PTEs grow the business that I knew I couldn't, if that makes sense. I know that if I can help PTs grow the business that they really want, they can have 100 times more of an impact on the people in the industry than I could as a coach, because the passion just wasn't there for me. I love the business building side of things, but the coaching just wasn't my thing. So yeah, that's where it's all come out. Now what I do is I can coach people through sales, offers, content, marketing, all of these various different things, as well as the whole outsourcing side of things. But I don't tend to talk about that too much, because for 99% of PTs, coaches, and gym owners, it's not the right fit anyway. So hopefully that wasn't too much of a tangent.
No,
and I explained it very, very well.
No, definitely. I think it's good to know like why you do what you do, because, and that's the same for everyone, isn't it? It's like, I've got my backstory, you've got your backstory.
Yeah.
Like, as I sort of briefly alluded to off air, there's so many idiots out there that are like, 10K a month. And it's like, fuck off. Like, you look about 12, you're DMing everyone, like the same message. You've got there's nothing behind you that said that you've been a gym owner or a personal trainer or a gym instructor. No. You've not sort of gone through the trenches, as it were, to get where you are now. So why would anyone listen to you? And it's sort of, at the moment, it's fashionable, isn't it? Like, people have sort of, I think the route some people are taking, and hope no one takes offense to this, but it's almost like they've got famous through fitness modeling. Then they've sort of got a bit of a brand and made a bit of a name for themselves. Then they're like, I'm going to mentor other personal trainers. It's like,
yes,
but you've got famous and you've got your followers from something completely different to what you're now trying to put on other people. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's what does my head in with all that sort of stuff.
It's coaching what works for you, and like that's not what works just because it works. Like same with fitness, just because you did keto doesn't mean keto is going to work for me. Just because I give, Carl, there's your meal plan. Just because it worked for you doesn't mean it's going to work for, Sandra, 42, sedentary, blah, 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 blah. It just doesn't work like that. And it's hard because it's a conversation I have with people all the time. Like, because I'm in sales, I have to be very careful, or like I have to find a different position on how I market what I do, because I'm instantly thrown in with the same people of, it's all about you want to make sales, you want to make more money, high ticket this, 10K a month this, blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. Like, having a greater ability to sell your services comes from being a great coach and showing more people what you do. If we can find the right formula that shows more people what you do and convinces them before you even get onto a call that actually you're the right person. Selling is so easy. You're not selling anything. You're agreeing next steps almost. Do you know what I mean? That's where we want to get people to. And yes, money is important. I don't care what any coach says. You don't become a business owner if money isn't one of your goals. It has to be. Otherwise, your business dies. Like, businesses need cash. So if we can earn more money by doing a great job and being better at selling, you can reinvest that money back into your business, grow that business, help more people, have more of an impact on the industry. Therefore, that cycle rotates and keeps going and keeps going. You get better and better and better. You get better, more people, better results. That's how it works. Not, I just want to earn 10, 20K a month. Have you got a sales script that'll help me do that?
No. And that's the thing. And that's where these high ticket idiots, I think I've never done one. I've never questioned anyone that has done one, because if that's the way they want to do their business, fine, leave them to it. But you can imagine that you pay them $3,000 or 4, 5, 10 grand, whatever, and then what you get taught is charge everyone £1,000 for a package, get 10 clients, ta-da, 10 grand.
Job done.
That's
Job done. You've just given that away for free there. So you've shot yourself in the foot. But I've been involved in them all. When I was a gym owner, I joined these things because I thought that was the route. It was purely business orientated and money orientated, and that's what I thought I had to do. And it just doesn't work. Like, if a high ticket sales script is all it took, then why are so many trainers struggling?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So many high ticket idiots? Because all saying the same thing. There's clearly something there. And it's always, I always think, I can't remember who it was. I used to use a bit of an example about sort of when this first, I'm talking about 3 or 4 years ago, when it sort of first come out and people were talking about, if you want to get loads and loads of extra income, start up a boot camp in your local area. And it was almost, I can't remember who it was now, but it was almost like you rinse that area with Facebook ads and everyone gets to know your name. But then after everyone's brought your product, you've got to then take that and go and move somewhere else, because you've absolutely wasted that whole area. So you're always chasing your tail, but it's not about that. It's about, like you said earlier, it's about understanding what you can offer that person and then bringing them into a sales funnel or whatever it may be to sort of take them on that journey. And then by the time you actually jump on a call with someone, again, you're going to explain this in your own way, but by the time you jump on that call, it's not a sale, is it? It's literally, so you've seen this, you've tried that, you've done this, you've got some information. The next step is to sign up to this or this. But I think it's there's too many. Again, they hear the word sales, and it's oh, hold on a minute, that Stuart guy, he's a bit he's going to try and sell me something.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when it comes to selling my own stuff as well, I just make it very clear. And the way I'm going to sell my own stuff is not the way that I teach you to sell your stuff. I'm very laid back and almost don't do it if you don't want to. I don't care if you take it on. Well, I do care, obviously, but I'm not that fussed if you tell me no. I don't sell my stuff the way that I teach other people. It's very to the point. Let's get a yes or a no. Let's make it happen. Let's make sure it's a good fit, etc., etc. Whereas with my own stuff, it's this is what it is. Ask me any questions. If you don't want it, then that's totally fine. Just let me know later, type of thing. Because again, you can smell these things a mile off. Some of the trainers in this group have probably had it before, where they've had DMs of people, and it's hey, great to connect, yada yada yada, and you can smell the pitch coming. oh, how about we jump on a discovery call and blah, 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 blah. And the next minute, they're asking you about your life and your family and your partner and why would life be better and how bad is your life? And it's like, oh, come on, like, I know what's happening. You're going to try and pitch me some mastermind for, like you say, $3,000 if you're lucky. Usually it's 5 or 10. So yeah, I could go on about the idiots all day, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting laughing because when I sell like my personal training courses, again, it's the process I do. Again, you're going to correct me if I'm doing it incorrectly, and sort of I'll give the guys listening to this a bit of advice on it. But they obviously sort of grab my course guide, see me on social media, grab my course guide, go into a bit of an email sequence, jump on a call. But as you said there, when I get to the phone call, sometimes I get off the call thinking, if I just talk them out of that, because like they're almost like ready to buy, and they're like, okay, so what's the next steps? And I literally say, I want you to go away and think about it, because doing a $2,000 course to become a personal trainer, you need to speak to your other half, you need to like sleep on it tonight. And they're almost like, oh no, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, no, get off the call, sleep on it tonight. If you still want to be a personal trainer tomorrow, call me back. And I sort of get off the phone. And sometimes, like, if someone hears me having that conversation, they're like, did you like basically tell that person to go away? I'm like, yeah, because like, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, where's your credit card? I'll hold on, you go and get it.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to be sure. And it's sort of, but then again, like you just said there, I wouldn't say to my guys, like, listen to this in like my groups, I'd make sure that they're almost closing out a sale. If they said to me, oh, I've had 3 calls this week, and then I left them alone for a week, I'll be like, what the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing?
Which I'd do it myself. But again, like,
I think it's one of those things though that, like, because of I think it's definitely different selling it to someone who's looking to buy some fitness because of what we do, for example. Like, it is a big decision. Like, look at what you do. It's a big decision. If someone wants to become a personal trainer, it is something that they need to have some thought about. And you're doing them a massive favor by almost not letting them be too impulsive, because personal training is hard. It's really good fun and it's a really great career, but it's hard. It's something you've got to 100% commit to. And like you say, go and think about it. Come back to me tomorrow. Like, that is an actual sales. Like, I hate using the word tactic, but it's the takeaway close. Like, go away and sit with it. I'm not allowing you to buy today. It almost makes them more hungrier the next day to go, yeah, I'm 1000% in. I want to sign up right now. I wouldn't recommend it to people selling, their personal training services. It depends on you, to be honest. It depends how full you are. It depends how confident you are and how much conviction you have, how much proof you have of your product. But yeah, it's one of those things. There's no real right or wrong way of selling. You've got to find the way that works for you and feels natural to you. But we also have to lead them down a very specific process, which then kind of molds into, oh, okay, well, there is a better way of doing things then. Rather than the right way, there's just a better way of doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
but yeah, I'm 100% like you. I'll sometimes if I know they're ready to go, yeah, cool. What we do is let's get set up. I'll take your card details. You'll get your emails about it. But other times it's like, just sleep on it tonight. Let me know tomorrow by 12. Just have a think. Ask your partner if they want to hop on a call with me. But this needs to be, a 100% from everybody involved. Like, so sleep on it. Let's chat tomorrow. There's no harm in that.
No, definitely. Yeah. I'm just going to apologise in advance because it's just started absolutely chucking it down. So if you can hear the rain in the background,
that's all good. It's all good.
Tell me, and when I'm not talking, I'll mute it because I don't want anyone listening back and not hearing either of us. So with that in mind, when you obviously the guys come to you for like sales training and the one-to-one stuff around sales, where do you sort of start with them? What's the process? Obviously, I always used to have the term is the sale starts in the car park. Like, I used to be in hospitality and I always had that from this like over 20 years ago. But my boss always used to say the sale starts in the car park. The customer service journey starts in the car park. The second they drive in, if there's litter on the floor, it's like they're not going to be eating or drinking in your establishment because like you've fucked it already. Like, do you know what I mean? And then they've got to look at the signage and the menu and the waitress and waiter and the bar staff. It's like that long journey from coming into a car park to making a sale. So what's the sort of journey that you tell your guys that they should take their audience on?
So whether it's online or even whether it's in person as well, like, if you're working in a commercial gym, like a Pure Gym or wherever, like absolutely everything is going to evolve around the ideal client. And it's going to be something that they'll hear over and over again. They'll get sick to death of hearing, you need to know your ideal client, you need to know your avatar, you need to know this. But unfortunately, it's an ongoing development, and it's something that you have to laser focus down on, because if you don't, you're going to find it very difficult to get your message across to the right person, and you're going to have either the wrong people coming into your business, or you're not going to get any inquiries. 9 times out of 10, when it comes to the private mentoring side of things, the first conversation we have is ideal client work. When people come into like the sprint, the first call we have before we even craft an offer, it's all around the ideal client work. Who the hell is it we're trying to help? Who do we believe, or who do we feel 100% confident that we can get results for? Why? What's our experience with them? Where can we draw our experiences from? What, all of these various different things. Who are they? What do they do? What do they do for work? What are their problems? What are their issues? All of these different things. And it's just about peeling back layers and layers and layers, like more layers. Not because we're going to like say this in our content, like, Sandra 42 with 3 kids who uses an iPhone and travel, blah, blah, blah. Like, we don't need to say all those kind of things, but what it does, it gives you an extremely clear vision of who it is you're trying to speak to. So every time you write a piece of content, you can have that ideal client in the back of your mind as the main focus, whether it's a barrier that they've got to achieving the result, whether it's some form of aspiration that they have, a misconception, a problem that they have, solution based, like whatever. If you understand that person, you can speak directly to them. And people are sometimes like, but I don't want to miss out on maybe working with XYZ over here. So like the male and female argument, I don't want to miss out on working with males. Okay. In my online coaching business, I had 35 online clients. I worked with men. 16 of them were women. The reason being is because they related to certain aspects of my ideal client. I drew them in with they have the same problems, misconceptions, aspirations, issues, struggles, blah, blah, blah. They had all the same problems. The only difference with them was they weren't a man. That's it. You can market specifically to men and still attract women into your business. You can market specifically to women and still attract men into your business. But you've got to nail down this ideal client. I don't want to alienate people. No, that's literally what you are trying to do. You're trying to eradicate and remove as many people away from your message as possible, so that only a select few now makes it sound like you're not trying to talk to anyone, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that a select few or a select audience is really tuned into the words that you're saying, the videos that you're posting, the memes that you're creating. Like, you want to show that you understand them. You get where they're at, you get what they want, you're getting all of these various different things. So yeah, ideal client work is going to be the foundation to absolutely everything, and it's something that you should probably revert back to every single month.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, like you said a couple of times there, like, people are afraid to go to that ideal client. And again, it pisses me off that these flipping idiots out there have made ideal client and your niche, your target market, they've made them these like buzzwords that now if you or me say them, people are like, oh. But like I said, unfortunately, if you don't know that, it's like pissing in the wind, isn't it? Because I was using an analogy, like if you're standing on top of the local supermarket and you shout out, I'm a personal trainer, people are going to look at you and go, I don't know what that is. But if you say, I help women over the age 40 lose body fat with my 8-week transformation, those people that hit that demographic are going to stop and look and think, hold on, is he talking directly to me?
Yeah.
And that's what you've got to be like. You've got to speak directly to someone. Like, your content has got to be aimed at that Sandra 42. It's got to be not necessarily those words like, oh, hi, Sandra, in every single post, but it's got to like hit what she or he or they are struggling with. If you're a problem solver at the end of the day, if you can help them overcome what it is they're struggling with, people are going to be throwing money at you. And again, like you said, it's, would you rather target 1 million people with a bit of a like rough sort of, oh, I'm a personal trainer, or would you target 1,000 people specifically that are going to buy from you? It's a no-brainer, isn't it? But everyone thinks numbers, they think they need to go big.
Yeah, I think one thing that you mentioned, the word niche there, like it's a question I get a lot, is like, oh, should I niche down more? What niche? What's the best niche? And you see some like adverts, I get them all, the top 5 most profitable niches in the fitness industry. You should stop chasing niches. Like, that sounds a really strange thing to say. Stop chasing a niche and create your own. because you are the only person in your niche. If you can separate yourself from everybody else, understand your ideal client better than anyone else, and let more of your personality out, you are your own niche. There's no competition for you.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that is a massively important thing. Don't get sucked into niches. And I made a post a while back and I got a lot of feedback from it, where it's a case of saying, like, you know, I work with busy professionals. That's not a niche. That's a trendy buzzword. What is a busy professional? Everybody thinks they're, oh, I work with busy mums. Find me a mum who isn't busy. Like nobody's going to listen to that stuff. So how can I differentiate myself between what everybody else is posting and become my own niche? Because no one can compete with me.
Yeah.
I'm the only person that does exactly what I do for who I do it for. That's what you should always be thinking.
Yeah, definitely. I can't remember what I was listening to the other day, but it's like when the iPhone came out, like the world didn't need another phone, so Steve Jobs and Apple invented like a digital phone that was like all singing, all dancing. It's still a phone, but it was, so it's not a different niche or it's not a different target area, but it's just improving something that's already there and being different to what's already out and about. So
absolutely,
you've got to think along those lines, haven't you? I suppose it's sort of coming up with what's there, looking around, seeing what's missing, and then create something that's like not anyone's doing just yet. But that's the hard thing, unfortunately, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So once you've done that with the sort of awareness around who it is that they're actually trying to speak to, what's the sort of route of a sale, in your opinion?
So the kind of the next step is, I mean, it really does depend on the individual, but let's go more sort of general here. Someone who's kind of brand new, or maybe 6 to 12 months into it and just struggling to actually make sales. The next step is to look at the offer. Like it is just to look at the offer. What is it that I'm promoting? What is it that I'm selling? What is it that people are going to buy? What is it I do? So you've got to look at your service and how you want to deliver results and all those various different bits and bobs. But your offer is something that's basically going to be a complete no-brainer and something that makes sense as the next step for your ideal client. So a very generalized way of creating a strong offer is you solve a very specific problem for a very specific person in a very specific time frame. Little bonus, in a very specific way. So your unique system, whatever that might be. If you write that out, again, that's not something that you have to post on the internet, but it gives you a very clear indication of exactly what it is you do and who for. So how I can start talking about it. Whether you want a front end offer, you know, whether it's a 2-week trial or a 28-day paid program, maybe it's an 8-week group program, maybe it's a 12-week transformation program, whatever it is, creating the offer is what's next, so that you have something, again, to talk about in regards to your ideal client, showing them that via my XYZ program solves that problem that you have. We go through a period of showing them that we understand them, what their issues are, what they want. We then go through a period of showing that we have the thing that they need.
Yeah.
Here's how to get it. Do you know what I mean? So ideal client work, offer creation, creating the content around the both of them so that it's as strong as possible. Because by doing that, you will likely get inbound inquiries anyway, because you're talking someone's language. But yeah, crafting the offer is definitely the next step. All of these things make conversations ridiculously easy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, even if, like you said, you've got to sort of look at yourself and how you can position yourself to understand that person. But once you do, and if at any point in the sales funnel, as it were, if they're like asking questions because you know that person so well and you've dealt with those people for the past 6 months, 12 months, whatever it may be, you're in a position to deal with them and say, look, so-and-so had this problem before and this is how they've overcome it. And I get asked this question all the time and this is the general answer that I give. I think when you can sort of like draw on past experiences, because you are working with a very similar demographic all the time, you're going to become that expert dealing with that person, even if it's not like an online expert, as in, you know, this is who I deal with. But I mean, when it's sort of dealing with similar people over and over again, you are going to become a lot better at dealing with them, knowing things that they do and don't like doing, the questions that they're going to ask before they've even opened their mouth. And that's how you sort of position yourself. Again, you hear it online all the time, like as the go-to person in your industry. You don't have to be the go-to person in the bloody industry because you'd be a multi-millionaire, but you can be the go-to person in that person's journey because you're the one that's giving them that information. So again, it's all sort of, it's funny, isn't it? Because, you know, you teach this as a course. I say this to my students because, as you know from previous, like, I don't want people just getting a certificate and bye, see you later. I want to sort of try and give them the basics of this, and then obviously someone like yourself can take it to that next level. But anyone that's listening to this in the Facebook group has got to understand that if you haven't got these processes in place, and I hate this term as well, like you're leaving money on the table, again, it's one of those guru terms, but you are, you know, because if you don't know how to sort of target a certain demographic and be the go-to person and get them into these sales sequences, you are missing out, because you know, it's sort of just, you don't know where you're going, do you? That's the thing.
I mean, look how many people like leave the industry. The statistics everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, so many people come into it because they don't get taught how to run a business. They just get taught how to, you know, be a PT in a gym, essentially. Do you know what I mean? So it's important. Like, your business is going to live and die by the results that you get clients. But you will, and by being able to prove that, you'll always make sales. You'll always be able to make a sale. But if you can develop your ability to speak to your ideal client, craft offers, and sell as well, you'll never go broke ultimately. You know what I mean? Like, none of us got into this industry to be salespeople and hard sell people. It's just well, it's the nature of the beast. You have a product that we want people to purchase. You've got to learn how to sell. I don't care who tells you what. If you can't sell, you're going to be in a new job in 12 months' time, because that's the be all and end all. You're going to have to get people to purchase your stuff. And going back on the sort of the offer stuff, and like you were saying there, being shown as like the go-to. Any point that you can, relate what you're talking about back to, if you can, a client and a result that they got. It's like a subtle way of throwing in a testimonial, but also how it relates back to your actual service. So that's one thing I've been trying to nail down. People that I'm working with currently is, we can say, oh, you know, here's a current problem, you know, something that a lot of people struggle with, and here's how Sandra, she's getting a lot of work today, Sandra. Here's how Sandra achieved blah, 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 because we did this and we combated that. You can do that, of course. You can, you know, if you've got clients and they've got great results, you can do that. But also, we combat that inside of my 12-week XYZ program by understanding the basics of nutrition first, so that we can do this and blah, blah, blah. Relate things back to your service, so that you're spelling out what it is that you do. Because if you can spell that out, it's already in that person's mind that they know what they're going to be doing with it. They know they know how you work. They know how you get people results. That's something that I need. Oh my God, that's screaming out to me. Carl, what is it that you do? What's that? I'm trying to lose some weight. You mentioned that thing over there. How do I do that? Great. How about we hop on a call? I'll talk you through it and we'll see if it's something. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how easy it can be, but you've got to put those things in place. Always refer back to your service or client when possible.
Yeah, definitely. And it's all about putting the person reading that email or looking on your social media profile and understanding that they are that version of that person, aren't they? So again, it's understanding your ideal client, targeting your ideal client. And in that way, whoever comes onto this email sequence and reads about good old Sandra, it's putting them in that place, because they'll be like, oh my God, I'm a similar range to her, and I've got the problems that she's had here. And like you said there, it's subtly saying, you know, Joe Blogs come to us on our 12-week program, for example. Their initial fear was about their nutrition. So straight away you're planting a seed, right? It's a 12-week program. They're going to educate me on nutrition. And then you you tell that story aimed at a past client, which is obviously going to relate to the person reading it. And like you said, dropping in those subtle little like cues, isn't it? And then would you follow that up with like a frequently asked question in the next email, or how does that follow on from there?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like, so you can have, I think a lot of people like a content schedule, and I mean, if you're organized to do that, you know, fair play. And, you know, one day maybe you relate something back to a client, one day you relate to a service, one day is an FAQ. Like, I think as long as you are very consistently and very regularly making people aware of what you do and how you do it, then I think you're always going to be onto a winner. Like you mentioned sort of email there. I'm really poor when it comes to email. I've got to be honest. I am in the process of improving that. But a lot of the things that I kind of work on tend to just be on the social media side of things. But you can relate that straight back to email anyway. FAQs are always going to be a winner, because you're literally going to be taking the questions out of somebody's mind based on the information you've already given them, from the content you've already given them. You're going to literally pull something that's been on their brain and you're going to answer it straight away. So you're even more of the right person for them at this point, because they're thinking, well, yeah, Christ, you know what, that was the next question I was going to ask. What does that look like? What happens if I do this? Or, you know, what is the next step for that, etc., etc. So yeah, FAQs are always going to be a winner.
Yeah, because I suppose it's sort of you know, not in a sort of horrible term as it's going to come out my mouth, but it's always getting rid of any objections that they're going to have to buy, isn't it, before they get to that stage? It's sort of, you know, if they've got this far, whether it's on a call with you or on an email list, or they've clicked to grab your free product, they've already taken that next step from the awareness stage, and now they've got a bit of an interest because they've contacted you in some sort of way, isn't it? So it's just getting them to go from that stage to getting them onto a call. Is that what you do with your guys? Is it more phone based, or what's the sort of the nitty-gritty where it actually gets to the money taking?
To the sale. Yeah, I think it's one of those things, like ideally, there's a few different ways of looking at it. Depending on how experienced you are and how much your price point is of your program and all of those various different, and your success rate previously, I would always recommend to get people on the phone. Like even if it's a 30-day program, that's £100. Like if you're quite new to it, just get them on the phone. Just get them on the phone. Get used to it. Get used to getting people saying no. Get used to people saying yes. Understanding your own like little structure with it and all that kind of stuff. Get them on the phone and get them closed. Over time, if it's less than £500, you can probably close them in the DMs. But for right now, just get them on a call. If you're quite new to it or you don't feel as confident, get them on a call, speak to them. It's always going to be the easiest way to get people closed. But my kind of way of doing it is by creating the content that's good enough so that you either get inbound inquiries, and the next step is to say, yeah, more than happy to hop on a call with you and I'll talk you through everything. You know, we'll talk you through the ins and outs of the program, how much it costs, and if it's something for you, we'll decide there next. Or whether it's you forcing the action. People who are engaging with your content, commenting, liking, sharing, interacting on your stories with your polls, just messaging them directly, seeing if there's anything that they need help with. Wait for their response and then tell them that you're happy to hop on a call with them. Do you know what I mean? It's different to cold DMing 50 people a day, put it that way.
Oh yeah, stop that. They just change the last sentence to make, or just change the name. It's like, we've got a bit of a group with like some students and that, and then it's like every time that one of us gets a message from one of these guys, they put it straight in the group, and everyone in the group like, I've had a message from him. Oh yeah, so have I. So have I. So have I. It's like, fuck, you know,
it's just the same shit over and over again. Yeah, it's the same stuff over and over again. And you know what? Like, don't get me wrong, cold DMs like that weirdly work. They do work. Will I ever do it for me? No. Am I ever going to recommend a personal trainer to do it? Absolutely not, because it's soul destroying. And for every 50 DMs that you send, you may get one or two people on a call. I think there's more efficient ways of using your time. And the way that I look at it, like if people are engaging with you and you drop them a message, just say, thanks for responding yes on that poll previously. What is it about nutrition? Let's just say it was a poll about that. What is it about nutrition that you're struggling with right now? Let them respond and tell you. Totally get it. A lot of my clients are struggling with the same. I'm more than happy to hop on a call with you to see if there's anything that I can do to give you a helping hand. When's the best time to give you a call today? Yeah. They'll either say, oh, great, 5 o'clock, or they'll go, I'm all right, thanks. Fine. Yeah. Oh, I'm all right, thanks. Perfect. Well, okay, cool. Well, if you want to download a free copy of my 5 steps to better nutrition, that's really bad. 5 steps to better nutrition. Click this link. Feel free to take it. If not, don't worry. All you've done is you've started a relationship with someone on good terms. That's it. And if they do hop on a call, you talk them through it. You get them closed. You get them sold onto your program. Job done. You've done your work for the day. So that's the way that I like to look at it. I mean, very low pressure, but it's done for a reason. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like it's so key to be doing that on a daily basis. Like you see so many times people put out great content and they'll get 5, 10, 15 comments, but they don't reply to a single one.
Yeah.
And for a fact, then they're still asking questions in polls and that in their Instagram stories, for example. But you can guarantee if they're not even replying to comments, they're not replying to them. And it's such a silly thing because the amount of random people that follow me that I've never spoke to in my life will answer a poll. And like you said, that, in my opinion, and as you just said there, it's not a horrible, like cold DM, but if it's something random, like how do you have your coffee? and someone says, like, answers a stupid question, you can like
Yeah,
get a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
of a joke going with them. And if nothing else, what that will do is boost your Instagram engagement, because if that person doesn't see or speak to you ever, and you've even like to the point where you don't even recognize their name, so in other words, they don't ever like or comment on your posts, but they've answered some random story, definitely reach out to them, because that will
Yeah,
help
yeah.
boost your story and your posts going towards that person, because you've had a two-way interaction. So
Yeah.
even for that alone is good, because some people sit on the outskirts, don't they, and lurk and look at your content and don't
Yeah,
follow
yeah.
you, they don't like, they don't comment, absolutely nothing. So when you strike up that conversation, Instagram will kindly put your stories, your posts in front of them more so for the next couple of days to see if they do interact. And
100%.
then that's when they might see something that they've not seen before and be like, oh my God, I didn't know Stuart does that. Let me send him a message. And then it's carrying
Exactly.
on that conversation from something
Exactly.
random like, how do you like your coffee?
And it's one of those things, like, I think a lot of people shy away from it because the moment we said they, or, message them and reach out straight away, it's like, oh, it's a bit pushy, it's a bit sales. Don't be pushing, don't be salesy then. Hey,
No,
how can I help? Anything in particular you need help with? Just be a human, have a conversation. That's all you need to think of it. Like, you're not trying to sell to them by asking them anything in particular, blah blah blah. And even when you're offering, because at that point, like the way that I displayed it before, like if I'd have done it to, let's say anybody listens to this now, if I'd have done it that way, you wouldn't have felt a pitch coming along. Like I'd have said to you, I'm more than happy to talk you through it, give you some tips, some whatever. When you're free, you would either say, no, I'm all right, thanks. Okay, fine, here's a free resource.
yeah,
Or yeah, cool, 5 o'clock, fine. At 5 o'clock, let's hop on, we'll talk through it.
yeah.
It's as simple as that. It's not pushing, it's not salesy. And you've kind of got to get over it.
No, definitely. And
Because
that's the thing.
again,
Yeah,
it always comes back to, yes, we want to be a personal trainer, but at the same time, you have to be a business owner. So at some point, you're going to have to get over it and get over yourself.
yeah.
do you know what I mean? That's a common conversation I have to have with people. You have to just get over yourself and just do it.
Exactly. It's like people don't like doing things like this. They don't like being on camera. They don't like the sound of their own voice. They don't
Yeah,
like, and it's that imposter syndrome as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah, yeah,
oh, I can't put something on social media because Joe Blogg's personal training down the road will slag it off. Who gives a shit? They're not your client. They're not like who you're
yeah,
targeting. Ignore them. And you just got to get out there and, like I said, DMing people. At first, you do feel like a bit of a creep, especially if you've had
yeah,
someone
yeah,
do it to you. You probably
yeah,
think,
yeah.
oh God, I'm going to be like that 10K guru idiot that keeps messaging me.
You know how not to do it. You know how
Yeah,
not to position yourself. Don't take by it, because it's like when it comes to investing in courses and everything else, like don't do something just because of your previous experience. Keep it in mind. But if you trust and believe what this person's saying, then that's all you can sort of go with. It'd be like people not doing a PT course because all they see is how shit most of them are, because you get qualified in the weekend. But that would be like, they'll be like, oh, well, Carl, I'm not doing yours because all these other ones are terrible. Okay, well, if it's something you want to do, you're gonna have to do it at some point. So if you trust and believe what I'm doing, you're gonna have to take that leap of faith.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's the same with everything. So if you are scared about DMing people or reaching out to people, don't let strange DMs from other people hold you back from doing it, because ultimately it's going to be a pretty good tool for you to gain clients over the next 6 to 12 months. That's for sure. Because if you aren't doing it, somebody else is.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And again, it's silly to sort of trust anything on Facebook in this day and age, isn't it? But it's
Yeah.
it's like what really flipping boils my piss is when I see someone asking about a personal training course and someone says, "Oh, just do the cheapest one because they're all the same."
Yeah. Go online.
No, or again, like I'm sure, same with you. When someone's talking about, oh, what's the best way to get clients? Someone will say, "Well, never ever call them. That's horrible." It's like, no, that's how you failed, and that's how
Yeah.
you've not done things right. But now you're putting other people off who are new to the industry, and then other people that are new to the industry see the same thing, and it just spreads like wildfire, doesn't it, on social media?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because something
Does.
hasn't worked for you in your business, but you've not gone about the right way and educating yourself and furthering things and reaching out to people like yourself to improve in a certain aspect that didn't work previously,
Yeah.
shush, don't go and say that to other people, because
Yeah.
it's like I always love to quit. Well, I don't do it, but I always think in my head, like when people say, oh, you should do a course with these people, it's like I always really want to say to them, how good a personal trainer are you? Is your diary full? Have you got this,
Yeah.
got that?
Yeah.
And if they say no, don't do a course with them then, because like, what's the point? You've not sort of
Yeah.
made it in the industry.
It's not a good recommendation at the end of the day, is it?
No, exactly. And that's the thing. I think so many people, like we sort of said before, I think you tend to do a course, you think, right, I'm a qualified personal trainer, I'm going to stand in a gym, everyone's going to come flood into me because I've got my PT top on, and I'm going to be surrounded by beautiful men, beautiful women, and life's going to be. But I done a post the other day. You can be the best personal trainer in the world, but if you can't market or sell your services, what's the point? No one's ever going to know.
What's the point? Yeah.
And I've met, as you can imagine, over the years, like almost 20 years of being in the industry, I've met some amazing coaches, and one always springs to mind that I worked with, and he couldn't say boo to a goose, but his clients all got amazing results. His body was flipping unreal.
Yeah.
His knowledge was insane. But even if someone approached him in a gym, he'd be like, just wouldn't speak. He was just so shy. It was unbelievable. But it wasn't. And can you imagine if he was some of the people you see online now that are all in your face? He could be a flipping celebrity trainer by now. He could be like James Smith of this world, because his knowledge is just incredible. But I think he even left the gym because he just wasn't getting clients, and it's just such a shame.
Well, I always get it as well, where like I'll speak to people and they'll be like, you might want to not want to do my thing, or somebody else that whatever, and it's because I'm doing a I'm doing a kettlebell course, or I'm going to do my GP referral course, and I say that's all well and good, but at some point, it's good having all these qualifications, but like you say, if no one fucking knows about you, like you're wasting your money. You're never going to get an ROI on those types of things. So at some point, always develop yourself as a PT, but you should always have some form of a budget set aside so that at some point you can develop the business, because developing the business frees you up with more cash to then develop yourself as a PT, but also develop yourself as a person in your own life. Buy nicer things, elevate your life in other areas as well. So it's not a bad or dirty thing for a personal trainer to want to develop their business and not just themselves, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. Funny enough, in the Facebook group this morning, someone asked about what additional courses they should do, because they want to, what was the way they worded it? It was, what additional courses should I do that will make myself more marketable? And I was like, marketing will make yourself more marketable. And I said, I even put in there, as I'm a course provider myself, but don't bother doing a course just for the sake of it, because that's pointless. I've had people in the past do 4, 5, 6 courses in a row, and I've said to them, you need to stop doing courses and go and work in a gym.
Get clients.
You've literally done all these courses and you haven't even worked in a gym yet. How do you know you like working in a gym? You're spending all this money, but I literally said, you're not allowed to do any more courses with me, because it's just silly. You need to go and understand how to get clients.
Absolutely. It's crazy, and it is one of those things, and they are lucky that they actually have someone with the integrity to kind of say that, because you could just easily, keep paying. I'll go on a holiday every month if you want, no worries. Give me your money. But at the end of the day, like you say, you've got to take that step to develop the business at some point, and it's not a bad thing to want to grow your business. It's not a bad thing to want to earn more money, because you earning more money and growing your business impacts more people, and everything else. And at the end of the day as well, your clients probably don't give a shit about what certificates and qualifications you've got.
No.
They just want to know that, all right, they might want to know that you're qualified, but they just want to know that you are the right person to get them the results. Because if you've got GP referral and advanced kettlebell XYZ and TRX level 9, and they couldn't care less if they actually just wanted to get shredded. Like, they don't care. Exactly. They go, right, cool. What am I training? Let's get in the gym. Let's get it done. No, they don't care about all the other stuff. Not to say not to develop yourself. Again, I'll make that very, very clear. Always look to develop yourself, but I'd spend just, if anything, spend just as much money you do with developing yourself as a PT on your business. Have a budget. Set yourself a percentage of your earnings every month that goes towards developing your business. You will see dramatic growth over the 12-month period.
100%. There's courses out there, there's books, there's free resources.
100%.
There's free groups. Get in them. But like I said, you've got to be what's the other saying? Like, if you're not working in your business, you need to be working on your business.
On
Which
it, yeah.
again, it's one of those things that you just need to be building up. One of the things I was interested to speak to you about, and you're going to kill me when I say this word because I've seen one of your posts. Obviously, we're connected on Facebook, so I know you don't like this word, but a sales script when it comes to phone.
Yeah.
And I know I don't like sales scripts, but what I always class as a sales script on a phone call is maybe having something in front of you just at glance, which could be previous objections and maybe how to
Yeah.
overcome them. Or again, I'd hate to be one of those people that's like, hello, Stuart, let's talk about it, and like be very, very rigid. I don't like that. So when I say script, I don't mean that at all.
Yeah.
But do you have any sort of thing like that you teach to your guys that they should, not again,
Yeah.
not in a certain way, but is there any sort of hints and tips that you can give to closing sales?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that, like, so say for example, so it almost sounds hypocritical because I fucking hate a sales script, but I hate the sales script in the sense that, right, read these words and you'll close. Just read these words
I
as
knew when I said the word script, that's not what I meant. But yeah.
It's robotic. It's not natural. We're dealing with humans. You are a human. They're going to buy you. So they need to understand you, your personality, the way that you speak and everything else. You know, the way that your accent works, the way that your kind of vocabulary works, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, I would struggle to read a script because I can go from talking very, very monotone to then talking very, very loud, very animated. I tend to flow naturally into some swear words quite easily. Not over the top, but it just tends to, you know, blah, 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 blah. So if I'm reading from a script, I'll slip up. I won't speak properly. I'll sound hesitant. I won't be very confident, etc., etc. So you'd sign up for the sprint or you do whatever, and I'll give you the sales resource that has what looks like a sales script. But ultimately, what I want you to do with it is learn and understand why we say those specific things so that you can just use them as a reference point and say them in your own words. Say them in a way, like, we want to follow this process, but say them in any which way that you want. So I'll literally go through a sales script or structure right now. And if people are listening, want to pause it and take notes and literally just rip this off now, go ahead. People always ask, why don't you have a sales script as a lead magnet or give away for free? But because what's the point? Like, the sales script isn't what makes the sale. You know, there's no context to it. Yeah. Use what I'm going to say here now and use it, you know, develop it in any which way that you want. But ultimately, we start the call off and we set the agenda. Well, a bit of small talk, break the ice, you know, whatever. Hi, how are you doing? How's your day? But then you've got to set the agenda. You want to let the person know exactly what it is we're on this call for, what we're on the call for, what we're going to do, and what the outcome of the call is going to be. You know, hopefully, if you're a good fit and it's something you want to do moving forward, I'll give you an opportunity to enroll on the program. And that's it. It's not a question, it's a statement. It's very, very simple. The next step is to ask them why they booked the, you know, why did they want to book the call? What was it that motivated you to reach out today then? This is just going to give you very brief information of what it is they're looking for. Oh, I've seen a few posts that you made, you know, resonated with me. Or I've seen, you know, Steve, you showed before and after pictures, Steve, you know, I know him and I want to get him. All those kind of things. You'll just understand things. You can now start a conversation based off what they've said. Okay, yes, Steve. I've worked with him for about 12 months now. He's got ridiculous results. He's a really hard worker. But what was it about Steve's results that you that kind of just piqued your interest? Now they'll tell you, oh, I'm trying to lose some weight, blah, blah, blah. You know, you get information. Okay, cool. The next part of the structure. So what exactly is it then that you're struggling with right now? A really simple question. It could be anything, but make it so that they have to give you quite a good answer. What is it you're struggling with? Oh, I'm struggling with the diet side of things. And okay, cool. All you need to follow up with is, can you just explain that a little bit more for me? What do you mean by that? We don't have to go down the route of, oh, how does that make you feel? How bad is your life? How would life be better? That's not what people are coming to you for. They want to lose some freaking weight or they want to gain some muscle or whatever. What do you mean by that? Can you just explain that a little bit more for me? When you say diet then, what do you mean? Make them do the work. They have to answer your questions. So ask a very simple, broad question. What do you mean by that? Can you explain it? We're trying to diagnose their problem where they're at. When they're giving you those answers, summarize it, mirror it, summarize it back to them. Right, okay, so you told me that you're struggling with the nutrition side of things. You've not really done a diet before. And if you have, it's been slim and well with the missus, or you've followed some form of fad. You don't feel like you've got any motivation. You can't really be arsed training, but you know you want to, etc., etc., etc. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, perfect. Let's reverse this now then. What is it that you want? Then in 6 months' time, if you were to wave a magic wand, blah, 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 What is it that you really, really want? Oh, I want to lose, 3 stone. Okay, what do you mean by that? Can you explain that a little bit more for me, please? Same shit, exactly the same shit. We're just following a structure. We're letting them do all of the hard work. We're just asking very simple questions. Finish it, summarize it. Okay, cool. So you say you want to lose this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You want to lose 3 stone. You want to be fitter, more athletic, stronger, leaner, fitter, whatever. So what is it that's stopping you from achieving this on your, what is it that's stopping you from doing this on your own then? Or why can't you do this on your own? Well, they're now going to have to do all the hard work and explain to you that they're just not motivated. They struggle. They're just going to reinforce the fact that they need your help. Yeah. Okay. And why is now a good time then? Now they're going to tell you why they want to work with you right now. How much of a priority is this? Is this something you're committed to working towards today? Yeah, this blah, 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 blah. Is there anything that would stop you from moving forward and working with me then? If we were to decide to work together? Hopefully they say no. Okay, perfect. Now you turn it around, you ask, you get permission from them almost. So I believe you definitely would be a good fit for what I do here. Do you want me to talk you through what it is I do and how it could potentially help you then? Of course, they'll give you a yes. Okay, so the way that it works is this. Now you just explain what you do. You just explain how the program works. What the most important thing is to be vague on the features, but very heavy on the benefits of those features. So the way that this works is you would enroll on my 12-week transformation program, better name than that. The first stage is we're obviously going to work through the nutrition aspect so that we can put you in a position where you understand exactly what you need to be eating, blah, 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 so that we're losing weight every single week, so that you feel blah, 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 refer it back to something that they'd said previously. We also work through the training aspect. You can see what I'm getting at here. I don't want to make this too long. But you'll bring up the elements of your program and then you'll talk about the benefits. And hopefully, if you've been listening to them, you'll relate it back to information that they've told you previously. Especially if they told you, like, say, for example, this person, they've been speaking about the motivation. And stage 3 is we have the accountability set up. Now, you mentioned that motivation was one of your sort of biggest sticking points. So it's my job to ensure that every single week you know exactly what it is that you are doing. You have a plan of action to move forward with. That's where our check-ins come into place. So that if you're having a bad week, because they will crop up, good weeks, bad weeks, they're all the same. I just want to make sure that I'm there to coach you through any issues that you do have to put you in the best position to still get results week on week, week in, week out. You've just reinforced one of their major problems and told them that everything's going to be okay. I've got you covered. Do you know what I mean? Talk about it, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any questions about that at all? We're now giving them the opportunity to ask us the questions to find out the information that they really want to know, rather than us spieling off so much information that we might tell them stuff that they actually don't really care about. And from that moment, automatically gives them a feeling that this program might not be for them. Or we've given them so much information, they need to go away and think about it. But if they ask us the questions and we give them the answers, they don't need to think about it because we've just solved it. Yeah. But we ultimately want to get them to the point where they ask us how much is it, because we want to avoid that awkward, non-consensual, throw it in your face. Oh, and it's £150 a month out of nowhere. We want to basically go. They say to us, any other questions or anything you need to know? Oh, how much is it? Oh, okay, cool. So the way that it works is this: if you want to give them an incentivized offer, normally my program would be, £600, but I like to give people an incentive that if you are happy to move forward today and I can get you signed up now, instead of paying £600, it's £399, and you have the opportunity to split that into monthly payments if you wish. Keep your mouth shut, let them do the next bit. If you don't want to do an incentivized thing because you feel that's a bit corny and a bit cheesy, you don't like it, I fucking love it personally. If you don't like it, you just say, yep. So the way that it works is for everything that you just spoken about there, the 12-week program is £399. Keep your mouth shut, wait for them to respond, handle the objections. Like, it really is as simple as that. The whole conversation can be 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
If I spoke a bit fast there, I am sorry, but I'm assuming you can pause this and go back and whatever else when you listen to this. But you could literally rip that from what I've just said there and do very, very well. I can guarantee you'll close the next person you'll speak to if you do that.
100%. And that's like literally as you were saying that, it was back in the day before Facebook. I was going to say before the internet, I'm not that old. Before Facebook was around, it was literally that's what you do face to face in a gym. That's what you do on a
Yeah.
phone call. That sort of script, as it were, that sort of consultation / interview is what's going to get you clients, isn't it? Because, and it's the same when I teach my guys about the consultation part of their gym or PT qualification. It's not, right, Stuart, I'm going to do this for you, because the client just sits there
Yeah.
thinking, what the fuck? You've got to say, right, the term I use is, what do you want to get out of your time in the gym?
Yeah.
And then you shut up, and they'll tell you absolutely everything, just like you've said there. And then all I would be doing is jotting things down and sort of piecing it together. So if they're like, oh yeah, I haven't really got time for hour workouts, I'll jot down no hour workouts. So when they sort of come to the end of it, like you said there, and you summarize, well, look, so you haven't really got time for an hour, but we can easily do half hour, 45-minute sessions. You said that
Yeah.
you like training with your partner, no problem at all. I've got a discount for pairs that, you're basically listening. That's the whole job. And then you're
Yeah.
relaying
Yeah.
the highlights.
Yeah. You're piecing it together. It's that. So if you can diagnose their problem, or you can listen to what their problem is, you can diagnose it. Okay, so you've told me this. Told me this. Told me this. Told me this. It's like when you go to the doctors, and this is like a cliched way of explaining it. You go to the doctors and you tell them that your problem. They make notes, and then they say, well, okay, well, this is what we'll do.
Yeah.
And you do it. And that's all we're doing as a personal trainer, whether it's a consultation face to face, like you say, listen to all their issues. You don't know shit until they tell you.
No.
So they tell you all their problems, they tell you issues. I can't do an hour, I can't do this, I can't do that. Okay, cool. So this is what we've discovered. Now we want to know where they want to be. So we've got the diagnosis phase. This is where they're at currently. We now know where they want to be. So can we separate it? If we can separate them as far apart as possible and show them that we're the person that can get them results, then easy. It's a no-brainer. That's why I like the whole thing around. Why can't you do this on your own then? What's stopping you from actually just achieving that, 2 stone on your own? Well, they're going to talk their way into your program.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do, when you mentioned there, ask them a question and be quiet. Like, your silence will do so much of the work you wouldn't imagine. Like, let's say, for example, this podcast, if I went silent, just stop talking, someone's going to have to fill the void. You will likely start speaking because no one likes silence. But it's the same with if me and you in a consultation now, you asked me the question and just stayed quiet, and I went, I don't know. But you still stayed silent. I'm going to have to answer because I don't like silences, but you're the one that's in control of this conversation. I don't know. I think maybe the diet side of things. Do you know what I mean? Like, any silence longer than like 3 or 4 seconds, someone fills it. And it's a good thing. We want them to explain to us. Do you know what I mean? It's why the silence at the end as well.
Because like you said, that silence, after you've asked a question, you can be silent because you've asked a question.
Yeah.
So it's like you've actually put it to them. So it's like
it's how a conversation works.
Yeah.
It's how a conversation works, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You say something to me, I say something back. You ask me a question, I'll answer it. You know what I mean? Like, that's all it is. That's about as scientific as it needs to get. We're having a human conversation.
Yeah.
You've got to gather something. You've got to gather information. It's your job to get info and then know what to do with the info. That's it. That's as complicated as it has to be.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like even that conversation at the end, if you've had rejections, if you've had locked up conversations, if you've chased someone that's probably not your ideal client and you didn't really want to work with and you've been like palmed off, that helps these conversations because, again, like I said earlier, like you said as well, like with the objections, if you potentially know what they're going to object to, such as understanding who that person is, frequently asked questions, Bob 2 years ago left because of XYZ, you need to be learning as you're going, because your first sales script, again, excuse the word script, but your first sales call, first sit down consultation, whatever it may be, unfortunately, could be crap. You could
it could be a mess.
You could upset that person. Yeah, they're going to storm out the gym, speak to the manager, whatever. It could go horribly wrong. But if you understand who that person is, and one of the key words that you just said there, you're having a human conversation. So you're not a robot. You're not reading from a script, even though I keep saying that word. I apologize.
Yeah.
But you're not a robot. They're not a robot. So I think if you speak to them on their terms and you know who that person is and you've got a generalized overview of what they're going to want before they even flipping say it, because again, like I'm sure if you think back to when you're on the gym floor, when you even saw a consultation booked in on the system, 9 times out of 10, you would know how that conversation is going to go.
Yeah.
I want to lose body fat. I want to train my bum. I want to like bigger chest, whatever it is, by seeing that name, you've got a picture in your mind already of who that person is, what they're going to speak to you about. So you're sort of prepared anyway. But like I said, the key is, as Stuart said, the key is sort of being human, starting that conversation, and then relaying the information back to them towards the end. What objections have you got working with me? Give them the silent treatment. Done.
100%. 100%. It doesn't have to be. It's always going to be a stressful thing, especially when you need to it. But it doesn't have to be a nervy thing. Like, you'll find that at some point you want to get to a point where a yes feels the same as a no. Like, it's having no attachment to the outcome. Like, the only difference between, so say if me and you are on a sales call now, I'm trying to get you to buy my thing. The only difference between a yes or a no is that a yes brings some money, but a no is also fine, because at least I know that you didn't want it, you weren't the right fit, I don't have to chase you up. Cool. No, I'd rather someone just point blank go, you know what, nah, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's totally acceptable. It really is fine. Like, I'm not that fussed. I'd rather you say no so that the next person can say yes. That's the worst thing that can happen, is somebody says no, and that's not, when you really look at it, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's I look at it like that as well, because if they say no, or they don't want to sign up to a course, or don't want to come on board with your program, then that's just, it's not like your problem, because you know that what you're serving is good and helping hundreds of people. But it's either they're not invested, they're not picturing themselves doing whatever it is that you're asking them to do, so they're seeing it as potentially a waste of time, waste of energy, effort, whatever it may be. Even to the point where if someone unsubscribes from my newsletter list, for example, it's like they're never going to buy from me. So I know it sounds horrible, but I don't really care if they go, because as you know, if you've got a mail list, the smaller it is, the less money you pay to have that mailing list. So I'd rather everyone unsubscribe that's never ever going to buy from me or doesn't want to hear from me. They'd be doing me a favor. And it's like you said, it's saving yourself time by almost getting those no's out the way, so you can concentrate on the yeses.
Absolutely. And not everybody is going to buy that. Like, that's just a simple fact about it. Not everybody's going to buy. Not everybody should be allowed to buy.
No.
You've got to be. You've got to be. You might not have the opportunity to be so selective in the early stages, but you should be selective with who you work with. Again, your business is going to live and die by the results that you get clients. So make sure you're providing the right opportunity for the right people, so that the ones that are getting great results do a lot of the legwork for you, and sales will be easy.
Definitely. With that note, I think that's a great term to leave it on. Sales will be easy.
Good stuff.
A great way to wrap it up.
Spot on.
Cool, perfect. Thanks so much for your time there. If anyone wants to work with you, if you ping me over links where you might want to send them, if they can find out more about you, if you ping me over links, and I'll put them underneath this video. And again, cheers so much for your time today, mate. And I'll chat to you soon.
No worries. Thanks for having me on. And we'll speak soon.
Cheers.
Thanks very much.